Analyzing student writing samples with a focus on writing content and story elements. I had student writing sample number 3. Um, though the student's writing is well organized, sequentially ordering events that occurred, writing was lacking details or descriptive information or elaboration, which would have benefited the story. In addition to elaboration, the student could also work on including transitional words and or phrases to help develop writing, better organizing the flow of the story structure. I include that as a weakness, but my main focus is on adding details, so elaboration. But some examples for this particular sample that I included were the student could have added what the bubbles smelled like, why the student said that they felt good. They included I felt good, so maybe why. Types of toys put in the bath or a description of his mother. Um, those are some ways that further elaboration could have been added to his writing or his or her writing. And then I also added transitional words examples. So like while I took a bath in the warm water, my curly haired mom put pink bubbles in the water. I felt good because I was playing outside all day. Once I put my toys in the bath, I could not find the tiny Lego man. Then I finally found it, so I splashed in the water. After the water got cold, I got out and I was clean. I just wanted to add that example. But again, my focus for this was on adding descriptive information or elaboration. So the writing standard was using a combination of drawing, dictating, and writing to narrate a single event or several loosely linked events. Tell about the events in the order in which they occurred, and with guidance and support, provide a reaction to what happened. With guidance and support from adults, respond to questions and suggestions from adults and or peers, and add details to strengthen writing as needed. I highlighted add details to strengthen writing because the student did well with using the combination of drawing, dictating, and writing to narrate the events, and accurately wrote those events in order. So we're focusing on adding details to strengthen writing. So in order to provide supports for the student's writing growth, the student should participate in writing activities which build elaboration skills. The student should be able to apply elaboration strategies to their own writing. A quote that I found, please excuse my smoke alarm. I know I'm aware that it is there. I do apologize. But great description helps the reader to build a fully formed picture in their mind's eye. This is important in reading. Details are always important for asking and answering questions, for comprehension, etc. I said the teacher should model ways in which descriptions may be added to writing, example sentences. So maybe saying these are ways, using your 5 senses, these are ways that we can add details. So what did you hear? What did you smell? What did you taste? And those are also included in my chart further on in the presentation. I also said that the teacher can provide the student with prompts, model elaboration, and allow students to practice this skill on their own. When modeling, the teacher may refer to appropriate anchor charts, such as that attached in the next slides. The teacher should ensure that the student not only understands descriptive information, but also how to accurately apply details in their writing. The student can practice and be assessed by participating in more narratives such as that shown in the student sample. In addition to working with adding descriptions to prompts, the student can be tasked with pointing out details in familiar text in order to gain a visual of what their writing is lacking from a written text. So that whole idea was being able to work with a familiar text, such as like a mentor text like we work with in this course. So a text that the student has seen before and worked with before, and pointing out descriptive information that may have helped them to answer questions, just so they can see what this elaboration looks like in their writing. So I included a prompt example, like I said previously, that may be used to help the student. So the prompt example, which I happened to find online in an instructional video, was I walked home from school yesterday. So letting the student see these 2 sentences side by side and allowing the student to detail what they see, the differences that they see in these sentences to understand um, what elaboration looks like. So I walked home from school yesterday, or during my walk home yesterday, the sun shone brightly and the birds were singing. I could smell fresh flowers and a gentle breeze on my face. So that goes back to ways in which descriptions may be added to like the senses. The sun shone brightly, and the birds were singing. I could smell fresh flowers and a gentle breeze on my face. So that's an example of elaboration. The idea would be for the teacher to model that and allow the student to also have practice with that. I will also go back to the transitional words. This also is a strategy to help encourage the use of transitional words in the student's vocabulary as well. Such like by adding during my walk home yesterday. That helps the flow of the story. Um, you know, so this is my anchor chart. It says that we can bring stories to life when we add details. So again, going back to ways in which students can add details. How can I add details? So we're describing who, what, when, where, why, and we're describing those by saying, how did it feel? Um, how did it taste? How did it sound? How did it look, or how did it smell? And I included some examples of maybe feeling like squishy, soft, taste, sour, sweet, sound, noises. And I especially like how did it smell? Fruity and like that allows for more devices to be used in students writing, like literary devices, like it spelled like, so that also encourages literacy. And lastly, my graphic organizer, which was titled Descriptive Story Map, which I read about briefly in, I believe it may have been chapter 10 or it may have been chapter 3-ish or something like that. But this was just a story map. It's no huge difference from the general story map that we see and have students practice organizing stories with. And I apologize. And I figured that because students have already worked with, and especially this student already obviously has no issues with um, elements like characters, conflict, setting, resolution, or the order of the story. Um, that they should be able to fill this out. But instead of solely adding characters, conflict, setting, resolution, I would ask the students to describe the characters, describe the conflict, or what happened, or how did it feel, or what did you hear,